The TCG-OCG release schedule produces very little excitement. We know it's coming out months in advance and exactly how to play it, but this changed slightly with TCG exclusives or world premiere archetypes, themes that debuted in the TCG before the OCG. They tend to have a lot of flavor in terms of gimmick, and this has led to some iconic meta powerhouses and some not so great pack filler. Burning Abyss, Danger, and Mitsurugi were game warping, and on the other side, Testina, Dream Mirror, and War Rocks feel like failed experiments. But a TCG exclusive that occupied both of these camps at one point was Spyral. As the clever name implies, the Spyral archetype requires you to gather top secret information from your opponent, that information being the top card of their deck. This would be used to activate various effects, but the unique gimmick didn't catch on, at least initially. But when it finally did, it was everywhere. And in this video, we're going to take a look at how Yu-Gi-Oh! Spiraled out of control. The Dark Illusion was released in August of 2016 and introduced the Spyral archetype to the TCG. But before we talk about any Spyral cards, there was a card in this set whose trajectory very much mirrored Spyral's. Blackwing Gofu the Vague Shadow. On release, this was a nothing card. Blackwings were getting their Arc 5 era support, and this was just another random common. The tokens it summoned couldn't even be used as synchro material, but a year later, it was meta-defining just like Spyral. The Dark Illusion gave us a sample of what was to come with only 4 cards, but as you'll see, almost every Spyral card was important, and we'll start with the main man, Spyral Super Agent. If this card's in your hand, you can declare one card type. Reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, and if you do, special summon this card if it is the card of that type. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Spyral card, you can target one Spyral trap your opponent controls, destroy it. Super Agent introduces us to the gimmick that I mentioned earlier of guessing the top card of your opponent's deck. What's cool about these Spyral cards having these effects is that if you guess wrong initially, it's not the end of the world because you have the knowledge to proceed accordingly. But ideally you didn't have to guess, and Spyral Gear Drone makes sure of this. On summon, it lets you look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck and place them back on top in any order. This effect is kind of crazy, especially going first. It sets up Super Agent, and you get to know what your opponent's playing, in addition to choosing what they draw on the following turn, and the wording of this effect is very significant. Those cards are for your eyes only. Drone does not reveal the top 3 cards it looks at, so your opponent does not have the information that you do, although they know what they put in their deck. Drone could easily be searched with Spyral Quick Fix. Quick Fix is a level 1 Earth machine that can add a Spyral Gear card from your deck to your hand when it's normal or special summon, and has a second effect to summon itself from the grave if you control Super Agent by discarding a card. Being a machine monster with 500 attack means that Quick Fix is a perfect target for machine duplication, and Quick Fix does not have a hard once per turn on either effect, so you can search multiple times and revive multiple times, although it does banish itself if it uses the graveyard effect. One of the main search targets for Quick Fix was Spyral Big Red. Big Red is an in-archetype premature burial, another way to bring back your Quick Fix, and obviously there was more to come from Spirals at this point, but it was a little strange how small the first wave was. You couldn't really do much with these 4, especially pre-link format. Comparatively, Mitsurugi got way better after its second set, but it was playable on release, but Invasion Vengeance provided a little more help. Spyral Masterplan is a level 7 Dark Spellcaster, which will come up later, but it lives up to the name as it sets the stage for your operations. While on the field, it can add a Spyral Mission card from your deck to your hand, and when it's sent from the field to the grave, you can add a Spyral Monster and a Spyral Resort from your deck to your hand. A double searcher is crazy, and the searching continued with Spyral Resort. This field spell, in addition to protecting your Spyral monsters from being targeted, could add a Spyral monster from your deck to your hand. And during the end phase, you have to shuffle one monster from your grave into the deck, or Spyral Resort destroys itself. I guess the final effect is meant to represent Super Agent or any of the other members returning to base, but the attempt to balance this card doesn't really work for me. Most decks don't mind recycling cards, and it doesn't even have to be a Spyral monster. And like Quick Fix, this is not a hard once per turn. Raging Tempest was the penultimate wave, and finally gave the deck some more interaction. A huge issue early on was that the deck didn't do much. You had a ton of searchers, but no way to take the game to your opponent. Spyral Tough is effectively another Super Agent in more ways than one. Its effect reads: this card's name becomes Spyral Super Agent while it's on the field or in the graveyard. Once per turn, you can declare one card type and target one card your opponent controls. Reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, and if you do, destroy the targeted card if the revealed card is the declared type. It's literally Super Agent again, but it can target monsters too. But it doesn't have the special summon effect, and similar to the other cards, it does not have a hard once per turn, although you're probably not summoning this multiple times in a turn. Another level 4 also opened up rank 4 plays, although the deck wasn't necessarily good at doing that. This was followed up by the trap card Spyral Gear Utility Wire. Utility Wire is similar to Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, putting a card your opponent controls on top of the deck. Quick effect interaction was desperately needed, and we got another piece in Maximum Crisis. Spyral Sleeper finally delivered the deck a boss monster, and it's a pretty good one. Its effect reads: not be normal summon / set, must be special summoned from your hand by banishing 3 Spyral cards from your graveyard, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can target one Spyral card you control and up to 2 cards your opponent controls. Destroy them. This card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard. Destroy as many cards you control as possible, and if you do, special summon one Spyral Super Agent from your hand, deck, or graveyard. The summoning condition is great. It makes use of the cards in your grave, and the double pop is fantastic. Your board getting blown up isn't great, but at least it floats. And to protect it, we received a new Spyral Gear card in Last Resort. Last Resort is like a Union monster. It can equip itself from the hand or field to a Spyral monster you control, and while equipped, the monster cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, or even be targeted by your opponent's card effects. Last Resort and Sleeper in tandem are incredible. You can protect your Sleeper until the moment is right, then destroy Last Resort and 2 cards with Sleeper's effect. And finally, the last Spyral card of note was Spyral Mission Rescue. The only thing you need to know is that you can banish it from your grave to summon a Spyral from your grave. And of course, it's not a hard once per turn. When you put everything together, this deck doesn't seem that bad, and it wasn't, but it didn't really have an end goal. Sleeper was really good, but in early to mid 2017, there were decks that had similar boss monsters that were easier to summon and could make more layered boards. Specifically, I'm thinking of Zodiac Dryden and Masterpiece, real powerhouses at the time. Circuit Break was the second Vrains era set, and it only had one Spyral card, but this card moved mountains. Spyral Double Helix. There's a link 2 requiring 2 Spyral monsters, and its effect reads: this card's name becomes Spyral Super Agent while in the field or in the grave. You can declare one card type, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, and if you do, and its type matches the declared type, take one Spyral monster from your deck or graveyard and either add it to your hand or special summon it to a zone this card points to. Summoning monsters from the deck is usually broken, and this is no different. The specter of Double Helix loomed over the format, taking Spyral from untiered to tier 0 overnight. But beyond making the deck tier 0, Double Helix put into perspective that this was always meant to be a link deck. As I mentioned previously, Spyral was unremarkable during the Arc 5 era because it felt like there was no end goal. Spyral Sleeper equipped with Last Resort and Utility Wire were strong interruptions, but the deck didn't really make Xyz monsters and couldn't synchro summon, so their bodies just sat on the field doing nothing. There was finally something to make with Double Helix, and the introduction of Link monsters added to that. Establishing a timeline. Circuit Break comes out October 20th. YCS Dallas is the 21st and 22nd. It's won by Imran Khan, playing Spyral, and the runner-up is his brother Faisal Khan, also playing Spyral. And 29 of the top 32 were playing Spyral, literally overnight. YCS London was on the 27th and 28th, won by Jesse Cotton, and you guessed it, playing Spyral. And then November 6, 2017, the ban list. Gofu to 1, Drone to 1, Quick Fix to 1, and Set Rotation to 1. The deck got hit pretty hard. Not quite obliterated, but the expectation was that Spyral would not be able to compete at the level it did in October. And then we arrived at YCS San Diego, where Spyral's won again, but Faisal Khan takes home the trophy, finally getting his YCS win after finishing second at Dallas to his brother, which is such a great story. This dominance continued for 3 more YCS events until YCS Atlanta in February of 2018, which featured one Spyral deck in the top 32, although it did finish 4th. But the lack of representation comes down to the ban list that came out the week prior. Gofu was finally banned, and Spyral Resort was limited. This seemed like the end, but instead, Spyral chose to die another day. And the final set we're going to cover is Legendary Duelist Magical Hero, which was released in January of 2020. If you're unfamiliar with the Spyral story, you might wonder how this set factors in. Well, Magical Hero introduced us to Magician Souls, a card that I've talked about on the channel before, but in Spirals, you weren't dumping Dark Magician into the grave. Instead, you were sending Spyral Master Plan, which was conveniently a high-level spellcaster. Souls could dump Master Plan, summon itself, and then if you had a way to bring back Master Plan, you could do the full Spyral combo, and there were a lot of ways to bring it back. Big Red, Monster Reborn, World Legacy Succession, and if you used the other Magician Souls effect, you could discard Spyral Mission Rescue and use its effect to revive Master Plan. Unfortunately for Dark Magician players, Soul being meta relevant meant that its price surged. But Magician Souls kind of marked the end for Spirals in the TCG, as on April 20th, 2020, the Forbidden Limited list was updated and Spyral Master Plan was forbidden. Just before this, Spyral had the most representation at YCS Utrecht 2020 and the Team YCS in Las Vegas. These were the last in-person events before the COVID-19 pandemic, so Spirals did go out with a bang. Technically, you could still play it, and people did, but it wasn't the same. The advantage generated for Master Plan couldn't be replaced, and by this point the deck had received so many direct and indirect hits on the list that players had to move on. The sky had fallen on Spyral. Spygale Misty is a problem, and not in a good way. I hate this card with a passion. I get that it's a pun, but it means it's not part of the archetype. I don't think it would have been game-changing, but the naming choice was a little unnecessary. Spyral Double Agent came out in the 2023 Mega Pack, and it appears to be Spyral Sleeper prior to its transformation. It's the most recent addition to the archetype when this video is being recorded, and its effect reads: if you have a Spyral card on your field or in your grave, you can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's field in defense position. Then both players reveal the top card of their deck. All Spyral monsters on the field gain 500 attack. Also, Spyral Super Agent on the field can attack directly. I like this card a lot. Its effect is fitting as a double agent, but it was a little too late. And the final two cards that played a huge role in the success of Spyral were Trigate Wizard and Baguska. It's incredible to me that Trigate Wizard used to be threatening. The effects are good, especially the negate, but 3 colinks is a lot. It was a lot more fearsome prior to the Master of Horror revision, where you had to make Link monsters, but I still find it funny. And Baguska was incredible in Link spam decks because Link monsters can't be in defense position. So if you made it at the end of your combo going first, you kinda just won. There's a lot to discuss in regards to Spyral, and I'll try to summarize it in 3 points. 1. This deck is a cautionary tale about the importance of hard ones per turns. It's baffling that some of these cards don't have hard ones per turns, especially considering by the time Spyral was released, hard ones per turns were the standard. Quick Fix can just keep searching, and Resort can be activated multiple times, and these things contributed to the deck being insane. Imagine if all the Mitsurugi monsters weren't hard ones per turns. They'd be more unbearable than they are now. I'd like to think that they don't have hard ones per turns because Konami had zero expectations for the archetype, but I also kind of think that these cards were designed with Double Helix in mind, so who knows. The second big talking point is a little more general, but early Link format was atrocious, and by early, I mean the first year or year and a half. You could attribute 99% of that to Firewall Dragon, but Spyral specifically wasn't making much use of it early on. I know a lot of people complain about modern formats being awful, but I think this might be the worst stretch in Yu-Gi-Oh history. Spyral dominates, but we also saw the emergence of stuff like Goki, Dark Warrior, Danger Dark World FBK, Extra Linking, Dumblar Handrip, Ibly Lock, and I'm probably forgetting more. I tend to roll my eyes when I hear people say, I quit because of pendulums or I quit because of links, but if you're referring to this era specifically, I kinda get it. And finally, I think Spyral highlights the best and worst thing about Yu-Gi-Oh, which is incidental synergies. Now, some stuff from Konami definitely isn't an accident. When you have an Eternal format with over 10,000 cards, you can't test for everything, and stuff is going to slip through the cracks. Smoke Grenade of the Thief and Infernoble Knights, Herald of the Arclight and Gravity Controller bridging Yummy into Mitsurugi, and of course the synergy relevant to this video, Magician Souls and Spyral Master Plan. These do lead to some unpleasant strategies, but these things require so much research and testing, and I think people forget about that sometimes. You might see some weird engine or tech choice in every event topping list and think it's standard, but someone had to figure that out. And that contributes to the sandbox element of Yu-Gi-Oh! You can build your deck to literally do anything regardless of how ridiculous it may seem. TCG exclusives take us on quite the roller coaster, but if there's one positive thing to take away from Spirals, it's that one card can turn the fortunes of a deck around drastically. So hold on to that pet deck you love, because something big could be right around the corner. But that's the video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. What's your favorite TCG exclusive or world premiere archetype? Leave it in the comments below. and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.